Today's lesson is on square roots. So we are going to talk about the length of each side of a square measures s inches long. The area of the square is 49 inches squared. What is the length of one side of the square? So one side of the square is s. That means if it's a square, all four sides are actually s. So describe in words how to find the area of a square given that each side is s inches long. So if you remember how to find area of a square or a rectangle, you do base times width, or base times height, length times width. So it says in words, you would do side times side. Okay. And then write a multiplication expression using a variable s to represent the area of the square. So multiplication expression, we would do s times s, and an expression does not have an equal sign, so that is all they want there. Then write an expression using the variable s and an exponent to represent the area of a square. So we just wrote s times s. And then if I can simplify that down with an exponent, it's s times itself twice, so it's really s squared. Okay. Write an equation setting your expression equal to the area of the given problem. So s squared equals 49. They told us the area was 49 back at that first slide. And then we need to consider the factors of 49. So factors of 49, we could have 1 times 49, and we can have 7 times 7. Explain what the two sides of the equation have in common when you write each as the product of two factors. So what that means is the product of two factors, s squared is s times s. We've talked about that. And then 49, the product of two factors, we're going to use 7 times 7. So explain what the two sides of the equation have in common. Well, they have the same number twice, or the same variable twice, same value twice. Okay, that's what they have in common. All right. So if we wanted to solve s squared equals 49, we have talked about if we had multiplication, how would we undo multiplication? We would do the opposite. We would divide with our upside down t problems. But if you have a squared, the opposite of a square is actually a square root. So if you take the square root of both sides, the radical symbol and the squared would cancel out, and you would be left with s. And then the square root of 49, square root just simply means what times itself gives you 49, and that answer would be 7. So the side length of our square would be 7. And then on our last slide here, I have the list of perfect squares all the way up to 14. There's 14 of them here. So this list is very important. I would definitely write these down. And perfect squares are the numbers that we can take the square root of and actually get a whole number answer. Okay. So down here, solve, I have 3 examples. The square root of 81. So square root means what times itself is going to give you 81. Well, 9 times 9 is 81, so the answer is 9. And then for the square root of 196, what times itself is going to give you 196, and that would be 14. And then 625. Well, that's not on my list. I didn't make my list that big. So you might have to guess and check here. So if I did, let's say 10 times 10, that would give me 100. So I definitely need to go bigger than 10. So if I go to 20 times 20, that would give me to 400. So I know I have to go bigger than 20. If I go to 30, 30 times 30 is 900. So that's way too big. So it's got to be between 20 and 30. So I'm going to go right in the middle, and let's try 25 times 25. And I get 625. So this answer is 25, because 25 times 25 is 625. Now, I also want you to be aware that there is positive and negative. There's actually two answers when you take the square root, because as you could just see, 25 times 25 was 625 that I just wrote out. But think about if I did negative 25 times negative 25. I'm still going to get 625, and it's going to be positive because a negative times a negative is going to end up with a positive. So that's why both of those numbers could work, a positive 25 and a negative 25. And instead of writing them twice, 25 and then negative 25, we can just simply put this plus and minus sign out front like that.